Hi guys, it's Sarah of Sarah's Tarot, and I am here today to film the hashtag Tarot School Vibes hashtag, or rather a VR to the hashtag Tarot School Vibes by Sylvan's Way. It was their first VR that they've created, which is always super exciting, and I love this tag as a student and in general, so I figured I would hop on it. This video is brought to you by Anna, my best friend. If she watches this, hello. If you don't, it was your idea, so you helped me choose the topic. So thank you. But I believe there are 10 prompts, and I have my decks to the side over here. So I'm just gonna get right into it. And the first prompt is, which deck feels like a new notebook? Choose a deck that feels crisp, clean, and full of potential, like the first page of a brand new journal. And for that, well, first I'll start by saying I used to handwrite all of my notes, and then being a medical lab science student, I could not keep up with handwriting all of my notes, and then I was behind, and then it was not good. So I have to type all my notes now, but I'd much rather write in a journal. But for this prompt, I chose the Moon Power Tarot, which I just got in probably 2 days ago when I'm recording this. It's a 6 Sad Girls deck, so you know it's wild and wacky and awesome. Yeah. It looks like there's poems in the beginning. Very cool. So this deck, their decks are the ones that if you have not shuffled it yet and you go like this, oh, you probably heard it. It's stiff. Oh my gosh, that's so cool. It's reflective. You can see me. That's crazy. So I forget what I was saying, but this deck feels like a crisp, clean new notebook, and I am going to keep it in order because I haven't shuffled it yet. But you can see that with the silver borders and the reflective piece at the bottom that has the titles, like the little banner with the titles, it really makes it clean and crisp and clear, and you can really see the images, especially because all of the backgrounds are black. So there's definitely contrast in the cards, so it definitely feels like it's brand new. It feels special. You can hear the crack of the cards because I haven't shuffled them yet. Oh, I love it. I love it so much. So that is the Moon Power Tarot. I'm not going to shuffle this one because I have a specific way that I shuffle decks when they're in order, which is just a little flair, little special thing that I do, but that's besides the point. The next prompt is, which deck inspires learning and mental growth? Pick a deck that stimulates your mind through a complex system, deep symbolism, or thought-provoking imagery. And I am, of course, choosing my Shadowscapes Tarot, and I am going to take it out and show it because I love this deck more than anything. I already pre-ordered the Verdance Tarot by the same creator. One of my favorite creators. She shuffles super well that I'm gonna do it twice. Maybe. No, she only wanted to show off the one time. That's how I know this deck doesn't want to be worked with, is that I can't shuffle it properly. So this is the Shadowscapes Tarot, which inspires a more deep and symbolic learning, because this, I feel, is my deck that has the most detail and imagery in the cards. Maybe not the most symbolism, but in most of the cards there is enough symbolism that every time I look at the card, there's something different and there's something new. And I am kind of out of frame. I didn't even see that. So we're going to put some cards over here too. But, sorry, I'm out of practice slightly. And it's not when I would usually be recording. But like, look at this world card. There's so much detail and there's so much imagery. There's so much color. I love it. There's just too much packed into the cards that a lot of people actually say that they wish the cards were bigger, because then, oh, my dog is underneath me, because then you would be able to see them better. And I believe some people like Julie at Peekaboo Rose have created their own like larger copies of the deck, which I think is a great idea. But this deck has very thought-provoking imagery because every time I look at the cards, I see something else. So that, don't fall. That is my Shadowscapes Tarot. You can see how pretty and colorful it is. If you haven't seen this deck or don't have this deck, I recommend this deck. Highly, very highly. So this was my deck that has deep thought-provoking imagery. My next deck is so excited to be shown that it just fell over. The next, don't hit the camera. The next prompt is which deck feels like a wise teacher? Choose a deck that offers calm, insightful structural guidance like a favorite mentor or a professor. I definitely have my favorite professors. I'm not going to name them because you won't know who they are. But if Anna is watching this, she knows who the least favorites are too. So that, anyway. The deck that I chose as my wise professor, I keep in this really pretty bag that I got at a crystal store in New Jersey. And this is the my goodness, this is the Mindscapes Tarot that was just released mass market. And this feels like a wise professor because I feel like the way the borders are drawn, similar to the Moon Power Tarot, how those borders affected how I read those cards, these ones feel more like weathered and aged and more knowledgeable because they're drawn, and they're drawn kind of jagged. So it just has that kind of effect to it. It makes it feel a little bit wiser, a little bit older. It's definitely calm and insightful because of the scenes that are being shown in the images and not necessarily people or animals or experiences, just simply scenes of what's going on. And I feel like this is also very structured, not because of the architecture and the landscapes, but because it was created first with the majors and then with the minors. So I feel like that has some sort of like structure to how he developed the deck. Yes, so I think that this deck is beautiful. I think it's guiding. Oh my gosh, I am in the middle of a coughing fit, I think. I apologize for any weird skips or pauses or me coughing. But my throat is very dry. So actually, I'm gonna go get water and I will be back. Okay, much better. The next deck, or the next prompt, is which deck feels like finding your people? Pick a deck that feels inclusive, friendly, and relatable, something that supports connection and belonging. And I, for no other reason than I love the attitude of the alpacas in this deck, chose the Alpaca Tarot. And this is the first edition. Every card is an alpaca. Yes, it's amazing. Yes, it is amazing. I guess I just can't shuffle right now. There we go. So this is the Alpaca Tarot. And this deck feels like finding your people because all of the alpacas in this deck have the greatest attitude, and they're all super cute and super funny, and it just makes you feel like you belong. There's one, I think it's is it the sun where he has the sunglasses on? There's one alpaca with sunglasses on, and he's just, I'm just gonna do it like this so that I can, my other hand is being licked by my dog. Where's sunglasses alpaca? I definitely won't be able to, oh, here we go. Oh no, it's the devil. That makes so much more sense. The devil has the sunglasses, and he just has the best attitude. He's the guy you want to hang with. And they're all just super happy, super content. This is my favorite card, possibly ever, because the alpacas have pet dogs, and that just makes total sense to me. Because why wouldn't they, right? So this deck feels like finding your people because it's inclusive, it's friendly, it's open, it's spacious, it's inviting, and the alpacas have dogs. Like, what could be bad? So that is the deck that feels like finding my people. The next prompt is, which deck helps me set smart goals? Choose a deck that helps you organize, focus, and stay motivated. Something practical yet inspired. And I feel like this is a no-brainer for people who have this deck, but also you wouldn't think of it because if you weren't a member of her channel for any time, it wouldn't really make sense. But I chose the Unicorn's Journey Tarot by Lisa Pepez, and that is because I actually had a reading done by her when I was in her member space. Unfortunately, I am no longer in her member space because I don't have money. Lisa did readings, and I did mine. I asked her for mine about school. Beautiful. So this deck feels like setting smart goals and helping me with school, quite literally, because I've done that in the past and I've used this deck to do that and help plan. And I probably will use this deck or one of the decks in a later prompt, like the last prompt. Yeah. Yes, the last prompt will help me plan for school this year, because this is the last semester that I actually have of like learning content, and then I get to do internships basically. So I am so ready to be done. It's been 4 years in the making. It will have been 4.5 years in the making. It will be 4.5 years in the making at that point. But this deck is beautiful. Lisa put so much effort and her own wisdom and her own like intentions and goal. I mean, obviously her own intentions and goals, but like school and career wise, she had like an idea in mind, and that's what she was working for, and she so incredibly accomplished it. So that is why I would use my Unicorn's Journey Tarot with the beautiful foil on the back as a deck that inspires me to help set goals and organize, focus, get ready for the school year. So that is the Unicorn's Journey Tarot, which is insanely beautiful. The next prompt is, which deck feels like pencils and lined paper? Pick a deck with clean visuals, structure, or minimalist design, ideal for clear, uncluttered insights. Now, I kind of went a little literal with this, and I was looking at my collection, and I actually have the Naked Heart Tarot, which I would have pulled out for this if I had not already pulled out this deck. But this is the Luminous Spirit Tarot, which is literally like pencil drawings, I'm pretty sure. But this is the deck. These are the backs. I love them even though they're so simple. This is the deck. It's very line work and shading, very minimalist, very clear, uncluttered. Ooh, sorry for the nudity. It's very clear and uncluttered. And it just seems really open and inspiring to be able to give clear insight. I mean, there's nothing much more than that. I remember wanting this deck so badly when I first started reading tarot because I used Labyrinthos app to learn the cards, and then I wanted this deck because they had it, and every time I tried to buy it, the website wouldn't work. It was kind of funny. And then I finally got it. So this is the Luminous Spirit Tarot, which I'm going to shuffle for you guys, because I think it shuffles pretty well, actually. And maybe I'll pull a card, because no, I'm not going to pull a card. But this deck, oh, that's a good note to leave it off on, the Ace of Pentacles. But this deck just really feels like pencils and lined paper, because it's super duper smooth, it's super clean and easy, it's fun, it gives great readings, all that good stuff. So that is the Luminous Spirit Tarot. This is the Prism edition. I was going to say Prisma, but it's Prism. There's always Prism and Prisma and Cosma and Cosmic. Those always mix me up because I have so many decks from each one. But which deck feels like career prep? Choose a deck that helps you focus on purpose, calling, and or academic career development. I don't know why I opened the box to the side. I chose my Lillifer Tarot because I am starting to pull astrology into my readings and life more and more. Like actual astrology with the cards, etc., etc. So these, hold on, because this is just incredible. These cards have the number, they have the zodiac sign that corresponds to it, and they have the planet or sun or moon or whatever astrological component, like planetary component, goes to it. So for example, this Seven of Cups is the, what is it, third decan in Scorpio. The Queen of Cups is Cancer, the Two of Swords is Libra, the Magician is the Magician. I'm aware that there are major associations also. This one is, what is that, Virgo? I just don't remember them off the top of my head. But this deck is just so stunning and incredible. The Lovers is Gemini. Like, I'm not going to go too far into it. I'm going to go back to the prompt. Which deck feels like career prep? Choose a deck. Oh my gosh, too excited. That helps you focus on purpose, calling, or academic career development. I think this will help me plan my academics and my career, because this deck will help me take into consideration astrology, and I do think that there are certain things in astrology that definitely affect my life. Maybe more so like moon cycles and retrogrades, rather than like, oh, this planet is now in sight, or like more minimal stuff like that. I guess the more major stuff is where I'm more concerned. So I feel like this deck will help me plan for that, because it has the astrological correspondence on the card. And this deck feels like career prep, because I feel like I can do anything with this deck. I feel like this deck is very versatile, and I can really do any kind of reading with it, and it'll give me the most accurate reading that I could possibly imagine. So that is my Lillifer Tarot. I love the backs, except that they're not reversible, but I'm starting to get over that because I just love the deck. Prompt number 8 is which deck feels like a research project? Pick a deck with depth. One that makes you want to dig into mythology, history, or spiritual systems. And this deck I keep in this bag from Johnnicky, from Catamancy Tarot, which I absolutely adore. Them and this bag. Is My Dreams of Gaia Tarot. This is the mini edition. But this deck, the majors are all renamed and redone. Everything is different. I believe the minors and the quartz are the same when it comes to meaning. But like this would be Judgment. I don't think this is Judgment. This is something else. And I don't have the guidebook right in front of me. Oops, don't hit the camera. I don't have the guidebook right in front of me, but each of the majors are different. I do like how it numbers the court cards, because that's how I would number the court cards. And I like that it's like 11, 12, 13, 14, instead of having renamed versions of it. I was watching someone's video and they said that one of the tips, it may have been Simply Han. It may have been. They were recommending advice for tarot beginners. Someone was saying in their video that they recommend taking a deck and cutting off all the borders so that you don't have any words associated with them and you're only seeing the images first. And if this deck wasn't a completely different system, that would be this deck for me, because this deck is stunning. Because this deck doesn't have words. It has the suit, association, and the number. So I think that would be really interesting in terms of this deck. But this deck I would definitely need to dive into and maybe make a chart for the majors, just because they're all different and I really don't know. I've read it how I know it, but then there are extra majors, and those ones were some of the like normal 22 major arcana, so it was weird. But that was my deck that feels like a research project. Prompt number 9 is which deck helps me reframe mistakes as lessons. Reframe mistakes as lessons. Choose a gentle, encouraging deck to help you shift your mindset and embrace growth through trial. And I chose my Sasori Beto Tarot because this deck has done exactly that for me. And in a recent video, come on, you can stay in there, that's okay. In a recent video, I went over the 8 of Cups in this deck and how that was like the creator's way of reframing mistakes and moving on and doing all that. So that's why I feel like it's this deck, because this deck has stories on stories about how to reframe and how to re-look. Oh, this poor card. Not re-look. How to change your perspective and how to look at something differently. So this deck really feels like one that I'm able to reframe my mindset, because it puts me back into this like cartoonish world where like not everything is so serious, and it lets you grow because it's comforting, but it's also pushing you. And that's what this deck feels like. And I did have a friend spill water on this deck, so the cards are a little thicker than they should be. But that is okay. He felt so bad. I felt so bad. But that is my deck that helps me reframe mistakes. She doesn't shuffle as well, I say, as she shuffles super well. But that is the Sasori Beto Tarot. And then the last prompt, I know I kind of sped through this, and I didn't have as much energy in the beginning, which is weird. Usually you trail off with energy, but for some reason I have more energy now. So the last prompt is, which deck helps me find my direction? Pick a deck that feels like a compass or guidepost, ideal for planning your next steps with clarity and courage. And I keep this deck in this little silk bag that I found. And this is just the Floral Seeker Tarot, just an RWS clone. But I think it's great because I think I'm going to do a deep dive into the RWS, possibly with reversals this time. And I feel like this deck is good for planning the next steps because it's based on the original but with colors that I actually enjoy and characters that I enjoy. So it feels like a compass because it is the original. It is fully like focused on a system, just in a more cute fashion. So I feel like this I would be able to plan with clarity and courage because I know the system, I know what I'm doing. I can deep dive and create my own keywords for certain cards or my own experiences for certain cards, which I feel like I need to do a little more for some cards. So that is what I chose for the last prompt, and I'll give this deck a nice little shuffle also because it shuffles super well. You can see the backs kind of match. The inner yellow matches the bag. Yes. So that, we'll end with the sun. So that was my response to the hashtag Tarot School vibes. I know I didn't have a lot of energy in the beginning, and I apologize, but hopefully you enjoyed the video. I love doing this tag. I love tags that are put out by former fellow community members. And thank you to Sylvan at Sylvan's Way for doing this and creating this tag because it was super fun and kind of helped me plan what decks I'm going to use for Virgo season a little bit when I go back to school. So I hope that you have a good day, and I will see you next time.